Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to look at different ways of sorting and viewing. So once I'm logged in, if I go to the Labels tab right here, I can see basically kind of at the top left corner here, I can sort all the labels by track count, album count, artist count. I also have the option of changing the view. Now right now we're in the art view, but I can change this to the simple view, which just gives me a single line. Art view once again, which shows us the artwork for the different labels within the system. And then a detailed view, which gives us the artwork, gives us a name, and then a little bit more information, how many tracks are contained within each label, how many artists, how many albums, that type of thing. So if I go to the albums link up at the top, I'm just going to see different albums. And again, I can sort this by name, catalog, or release date. So a lot of people like sorting by the release date because it will show only the latest albums. And again, I have my different views here. So my simple view is just going to give me a single line. Now, within this simple view, I can actually click on the amount of tracks right here, which says 24. And I can see a list of all of the music and tracks that are contained within this album. I'll notice to the right-hand side, I have these tracks organized into different pages. If I click on next, I'll see, okay, here's track 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can keep on going, and there's basically 5 different pages within this view for the album. So this is all under electronic down tempo, the album. So that's the simple view, the art view. Again, I can click on an album and see all of the tracks that are contained within that album. In detailed view, same thing. I can see the name of the album code, and the label, the amount of tracks that are contained. And if I click on Show Tracks, I'll see all of the tracks that are contained within this album. And this one will take up a few pages. You can see tracks 1 through 5 right here. Click on Next, 6 through 10. And so on. Next, let's check out the Tracks tab. The Tracks tab will again give us a list of tracks only. We can still see what album they're contained, but we're actually now seeing the individual tracks. So I got Rapture, Echoes, Could Be Wrong, Perfect Crime. These are all individual tracks. I can resort this by either track title, the album, the length of the track, the BPM, which stands for beats per minute. That's how fast or slow it is. And the release date. Again, if I sort by release date, that'll just show me the most current tracks will pull to the top. We have a couple different views here for the track view. We have the simple view, which gives us our list of all our tracks, or we have the wave view, which actually shows us the waveforms for all of the tracks we're looking at. And a lot of people like this because it allows you to easily scan the waveform itself and then scan the entire song and see the different sections. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to look at some of the basic transport functions in here, which is a fancy word for basically playing and stopping tracks, and then also how to download. So I'm going to go to my tracks view right here, and I'm going to see, remember we have, from a previous video, we can see in the tracks view, we have the different views. We have the simple, which doesn't show our waveform, and the wave, which does. Any track that I want to listen to, let's say we want to listen to Echoes, there's a little play button right there, and I just click on it to play, and I can scan through it in the waveform view. I also have the ability at the bottom, I'm going to see a progress bar. I can also click in this progress bar to scan the different sections as well. And I'll notice when I do that, that the playhead also follows along. On the right-hand side, it shows me that we were actually for a minute and 55 seconds at a 247. I'm going to hit my space bar to stop that. And we have volume controls over here. And we also have another kind of transport type control on the bottom left-hand corner with with basically a track forward and a track rewind right here. So if I click on this, this will actually take me to the next track. Additionally, if I want to advance to a track, I can just use the arrow keys on my keyboard. So I can use my right arrow to advance to the next track and my left arrow to go to the previous track. So that covers basic play and stop on the Bulletproof Bear web portal. Let's talk about quick download. So what if you want to download an individual track or you want to download an album? Well, it's really, really easy. So let's take a look at the albums tab. Now, one icon that we're going to see a lot is going to be this one right here. And this is the download button. Whether it's a track or an album, we're going to see this button almost every single time. So let's say I wanted to download the entire album for Electric Down Tempo. I would just click on the download button and I choose the format that I want to download it in. The system will make a zip file and download it, and then that's it. We're good to go. If I'm in the art view, again, if I hover over any of these albums, I'm going to see this icon show up again. So here's the download button. Click on it, choose the format that I want to download it in, and we are good to go. Same with the detailed view. A little bit different though. We have the album, and instead of getting just the icon, there's actually a button that says download all. I click on it, and it will ask which format you want to download it in, and then you're good to go. So let's go to the tracks area right now. And before we talk about download functionality within the track itself, let's talk about the idea of alternative versions. What is an alternative version? So let's say right here, I have this track called Slammed. I also have Slammed Alt 1 mix, Alt mix 2, Alt mix 3, and then I have all my stems. So here's the full version. And then I have alternate versions. Maybe these are versions that don't have the vocal or don't have the drums on it. And then I have the stems. And what a stem is it's essentially a sub-mix of a group of instruments. So I might have a drum stem or a vocal stem, and that just means that on that sub-mix, it just contains all the vocals together. The idea with the stems is that when the stems play together and they all start at the exact same spot, it sounds like the full version. A lot of people like stems because it gives the end user complete control over essentially how the song is mixed and edited. Now, all of these alt mixes and stems would be considered alternate versions. So if I click on the download button right here for a track for Slammed, I'm going to see there's a few more options here. I can download the individual track, MP3, AIFF, or WAV, but I also have the option to download this track and the alternate versions that are associated with this track with one click. So now, if I clicked on the alternate versions, I'm going to get Slammed. I'm going to also download Alt Mix 3, Mix 2, Mix 1, and then all the stems associated with it with one click. So that's what that is. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about searching for music. So, once you're logged in, I'm going to head over to the Tracks tab right here. There are many different ways to search on the Bulletproof Bear web portal. The first way is to just use a filter. So, if I notice at the top left right here, I have different filters: label, genre, tempo, mood, etc. Let's say I want to just find tracks that have vocals on it, right? So I could say, click on has vocals. I can say yes. And now it's going to return results that only have vocals on it. And I'll notice right here the filter criteria. So this is the filter that's being applied right now. Let's say that I wanted to look for tracks that only have vocals, but that are fast. So I'm going to click right here where it says fast, and that'll return tracks that are between 111 BPM and 130 BPM that also have vocals. If I look at my filter right here, it says tempo, fast, has vocals, yes, right? And now I'm just going to see tracks that just have vocals. So any filter that I can click on, I can add to my results. So I could essentially do it by mood, genre, etc. So that's all under the filter tracks up here. Okay, so to clear filter, I just click on one of these red X's right here to get rid of that filter, or I can click on the clear all, and that'll clear all my filters. Another way to search is by using the search bar up at the top. And this is where you can type in some search terms and get the results for that. The search bar works very similar to the way you would search in Google. It uses Boolean logic, and, or, not, that type of thing. So let's do an example. Let's just do a couple things so you can see how this works. So let's say that I am looking for a rock track. I could type in rock, and then I'll get a list of all my rock tracks. Let's say that I am looking for a rock track that also has a vocal. So I can just type in rock vocal. And now I will see results that are rock tracks that also have vocals on them. I also have the ability to exclude items on a search. So let's say I want a rock vocal, but not a female vocal. So this is where I can put the minus sign in, minus female. And now I'll see results that are rock vocal that are not female. Let's say I also want to exclude anything that has to do with Christmas. I could say minus Christmas. So hopefully you get the idea here. Remember that you can search by mood. So happy, sad, melancholy, tension, uplifting. We can also search by instrumentation. So orchestral, cello, piano, acoustic guitar, that type of thing. We can search by tempo. We could say fast, slow, medium. The list goes on and on. You also have the ability to search by a specific phrase. So typically when you do a search, let's say we did rock and vocal, it's going to take those two terms and look within the metadata for any of those combinations of those terms, regardless of where they are. Now, let's say that I was looking for tracks that sound like they might be from South America. I might want to try putting South America within quotations. So if I did it like this, South and America would just look for America, South, or South America somewhere within the metadata. But if I wrap these in quotations, now it's looking for that specific phrase, South America. So that's the search toolbar. And if you look to the right, we have these three horizontal lines. This is the advanced search. So if I click this, a window is going to pop up, and we have a few options in here as well. So if I don't like typing into the search bar, I can do it this way. I can type in rock and vocal. So I have rock and vocal, can run this, and there I get my results. Okay, and I can see up here in the filter, this is what the query was. So then if we look at the top right here, we have the sonic search. And the sonic search gives you the ability to upload an MP3, AIFF, or WAV file right here. And then the system will actually go through and find tracks that are similar to the way that these sound. Up at the top right here, we can do something similarly by actually copying and pasting in a YouTube or a SoundCloud link, and it will scan that video or that track, and it'll look for something similar within the system and then return those results as well. So this is all under the advanced search. The last way that we're going to look at to search will be within the track itself. So let's say that you found a track that you like and you're looking for other tracks that may be similar to that. I see could be wrong, right? So I actually click on the name of it. When I do that, I'm going to see all of the data that's associated with it. I see the label, composer, publisher, etc. If I scroll down a little bit, I'm going to see this one has no alternate versions, but I do see that there are similar tracks. So this is a list of suggestions for tracks that are similar to the one that you just found. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to look at playlists. What is a playlist? Playlists are similar to playlists in iTunes and Spotify. They are user created, meaning a person makes them, and you can add tracks to that playlist and then download those tracks. You can email the playlist to a colleague, or you can collaborate on a playlist. So if you're doing a project and maybe there's 3 people on this project, you can update that playlist in real time. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So if I go to the tracks area right here, I see my list of tracks. The playlists are going to be located on the left-hand side of your screen. So I see right here my playlists. And if I look at my setup right now, I can see that my playlists are actually organized into folders. Folders are a way of staying organized. So right here, I have my Vice folder, and I see all of the playlists contained within the Vice folder. Now, where it says my playlist, I also get a drop down with those 3 horizontal lines, and I can organize my folders by name, by track count. And then below that, I can search for an existing playlist. So if you know the name of it and you're looking for it, you can just type it in there. So let's go ahead and create a folder and then a couple of playlists. So if I scroll down to the bottom of my window, I'm going to see a button here. It says New Playlist. To the right of that, there's a drop down and it says New Folder. So let's go ahead and start there. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this My Folder. And in the description, say this is my first folder. And I don't want to add this to an existing folder. I'm just going to put it on the top level here. So I'm going to say Create Folder. And if I reorganize my folders by name, and I scroll down, I should see my folder right there. Okay, next, let's go ahead and create a playlist from scratch. So this is really easy. There's a button at the bottom called New Playlist. We just click on it. Under the playlist name, I'm going to call this My Playlist. And then under the description, let's say that we're looking for music for a cold open of a show. So I'm gonna put a description here: music for cold open. And then add to folder, I'm gonna put this in the my folder. Okay, so now this is my playlist is gonna go into my folder. So I'm gonna hit create. So now when I go to my folder and I click on it, I'm gonna see the playlist that we just created called My Playlist. Now I'm also gonna notice that there's an edit button and a delete button. This is actually for the folder. So if I wanted to change the name from my folder to my great folder, I can do that and hit save. And then I'll see this change, my great folder. If I want to delete that, there's a delete button here. So let's take a look at my playlist. So I click on my playlist. I see that it's active right here, but we have no tracks in it yet. So let's go ahead and add some tracks. So the way to make a playlist active so that you can add or delete tracks is to click the little plus button to the right. So if I click on that, I can see now that this is active. We can now add or take away tracks or albums. So let's add a few tracks and we'll add a few albums to it. So I'm gonna go to my tracks right here. So if I want to add a track, all I have to do is click on the little plus button next to the track title. So here's Echoes. There's a little green plus there. Lets me know I'm adding it to my playlist. So I'm just gonna add a few up here. Okay, looks great. Now, if I want to see the tracks that are contained within that playlist, I have two options. I can either click on it up here at the top, My Playlist, or I can click on it over here on the left-hand side, My Playlist as well. So if I click on it, then I'll see I have the 3 tracks that are added to my playlist. Now, let's say that I listen to these and I decide, hey, I really want to take this one out of my playlist. I'll just click on the minus button and it'll get removed. So let's say that I also wanted to add a complete album. So if I go up to albums, let's say I want to add this one right here called Adrenaline Junkie. In the art view, there's a plus button. Again, I can do it this way. In the detailed view, I can say add or remove album. And in the simple view, there's also a green plus. So I'm going to do this in the art view, and I'm just going to click on the green button right here. And I'm going to click on my playlist and see what we have now. So it lets me know I have 19 tracks total in my playlist. And I've got these 2. And then this one's letting me know that I have an album added. So if I want to see the tracks that are associated with that album, I can just click on plus 17 and I can see all of these tracks that have been added. Okay, great. So let's say that I want to download this playlist. If I look on the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says download all, and you have those options. You can download an MP3, AFF, or WAV. Again, as shown in a previous video, you also have the option to download the alternates with these tracks as well automatically. So it's up to you. So that's downloading, but what if I want to email this playlist to a colleague or a client? Well, if I look over on the upper right-hand corner where it says more options, I'm going to see those 3 horizontal lines. That's going to give us a drop-down. When we look at that drop-down, I'm going to see there's an option to email link. I'm going to click on that. All we have to do is type in the email address of the person who we want to receive this. So I'm going to type in info@bulletproofbear, give a message, say, hey, this is the music for the cold open. Check it out. And on some accounts, you'll even get permissions control, whether it's preview only, downloading for a certain amount of days, that type of thing. The bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see there's a button that send. So go ahead and hit that. And we'll also see a confirmation that that email was sent. That user will then receive an email saying you've received music from this person, and it'll give them the option to preview or directly download from their email. It's worth pointing out that we also have the ability to email individual tracks or individual albums. So similar to the more options up here, I'm going to see this same icon associated with every single track in the system. So let's say I wanted to send this track Armed and Dangerous to somebody. If I go over to the 3 horizontal lines and click on this, there is an option to email just that track. So I click on it, see the track title. We can always change this, and I will put in info at Bulletproof Bear. Say, hi, here's the track Armed and Dangerous. And I hit send. Email sent. So that's how you send from an individual track. And if I go to the album section, I can do the exact same thing. So in the art view, when I hover over the album, I'll see next to the download button, I'll see this arrow icon. This is the same as emailing, so I can click on that to send it. If I am in the simple view, I'll have the arrow as well. And if I'm in the detailed view, I can go to more options and say email to send to someone. Great. We also have the ability to add a collaborative workflow to a playlist. So let's say that you are working with multiple people on a project and you all need to work on the same playlist at the same time. Well, this is really easy. So I'm going to click on my playlist right here. And under more options, instead of emailing it to someone, I'm going to share it with them. So I'm going to click on share. And all I have to do is type the email address of the person that I want to share this playlist with. So I'm going to type in info at bulletproofbear.com. There's an option then to notify by email. And you can also set their permissions, whether they can view only or they are allowed to edit. If they are allowed to edit, that means that they will be able to add or take away tracks from this playlist. In fact, whoever has access to this playlist, if it's shared, will have the ability to add or take away tracks. And this happens in real time, which is pretty cool. So if I want to share this, I'm going to type in the email address of who I want to share or multiple emails. I'm going to put a message. Hi, this is the playlist for the cold open. Add some tracks. And I'll hit share now. And what happens is that the recipient of that email will receive an email notification saying, hey, so-and-so has shared this playlist with you. And then when you log in, you're going to see that playlist show up. And to add or take away tracks, you find the playlist and then click on the green plus button. Thanks for watching.